Hello ladies and gents who may be watching the show today. That's right, it's 4 p.m. Sunday and we're here on DKW. Now we've got a rather interesting show for you. We're talking space invaders. What happens when someone invades your physical personal space? Women, how can you safeguard yourself and defend yourself from an attacker? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing on today's DKW show. We're going to have some self-defense tips as well, which will come handy. And also we're going to be speaking to Olivia Holtman, who deals with rape victims and women who have suffered from an attack. And she's going to be talking a little bit about the work that she does and giving us some tips on how we can safeguard ourselves better as well. So you don't want to miss this one. But if you're eager to find out what's going to be happening throughout the show, take a look at this video clip. Hi ladies, welcome to today's show. As you can tell, I'm not alone. I have the lovely Rafaela, Patricia and Sam will be joining us soon in today's show. I mean, ladies, what do you think about space invaders? I want to ask a very personal question actually. Have you ever had anyone invade your personal space?
I have, unfortunately.
Really? What happened?
Oh well. It was a long time ago. I was around maybe in my 12, 13.
Yeah.
And I was walking home from school, minding my own business, and then this guy on a motorbike comes behind me and stops right next to me and touches me from behind.
Are you serious? Goodness.
And my first reaction was I laughed. I thought it was probably my brother or my uncle, someone from my family just playing a joke on me. And when I looked around and I saw this stranger, I was like,
oh my goodness, that must have been really scary.
and then he got on a motorbike and
And he just zoomed off.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I was shocked.
How did you feel after that? I mean, you were shocked, but like...
I felt disgusted.
Yeah.
When I got home, I told my mom, my dad, I started crying, and it was a mixture of emotions going on.
Yeah, and I mean, you were so young as well.
And then it kind of happened again. Same guy on a different route. He didn't really touch me, but he kept driving, like putting his bike in front of me, so I had to go across the road, and then he would go with the bike across the road, and then I'll come this side, and then he'll follow me until eventually I ignored him and started telling him off, and then he drove away.
Gosh, was there ever a time where you started to feel a bit scared or paranoid when you was on the road? Because I know I'd feel like that.
Yeah, after that, my father, because back where I come from, we walk a lot, we go to school on our own. Well, this was like years ago.
Yeah.
So it was safe. But after that, my father started picking me up at the bus stop and driving me to the bus stop to make sure I was never alone.
Right, yeah. Sounds really scary. I mean, have you ever been through something like that?
Similar, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I have been, and wasn't like so traumatic like she had the experience, but I felt so revolted.
Yeah.
I was in a car, and the guy just put their hands in my legs, and I felt like paralyzed. I didn't have any reaction. But then when I got off of the car, I told him off about it, and I felt very angry because I felt like, how can I allow this to happen? You know,
Yeah.
I brought the blame to me. You know, I
Because
felt
when it
very angry about it.
happens, it's like you have no reaction. You don't know what to do because you're not expecting it, and you are in shock. Later on, you think, why didn't I do this?
Yeah.
Why didn't I slap him? Why didn't I push him away? Why didn't I shout? Why didn't I do anything?
Yeah.
Because it's like you froze and you don't know what to do, what kind of reaction to have.
Yeah. I think the worst one, you know, that I've seen is on public transport, where it's really horrible because it's like, especially on the tube, for me, I get really paranoid. I know this sounds really horrible, but I get really claustrophobic, especially in London, where you've got so many people going on the tube and it's like everyone's like sardines all squeezed up in the tube, and you just feel really weird, like, oh gosh, I hope no one mankeys behind me or something along the lines of that. But it can be quite frightening, and I can understand why you freeze, because you don't expect the person next to you to do such a thing. But you know, it's interesting to hear what we think, but I want to find out what the people of London think. What are Space Invaders, and are they around us?
Have you ever been touched inappropriately on a bus or a tube?
Yeah, plenty of times.
What happened?
Like guys groping your ass or touching you, or I mean, I've heard thousands of stories about women being touched like without even realizing that. It's just that they take advantage if it's crowded, or if it's like if the girl seems really shy or something like that.
And that's happened to you here in London?
Yeah, London, Paris, but in New York as well.
No, not in my life, no. I haven't, sorry.
No, that's good. No need to say sorry.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, many times, but it's so indirect, and like even like when you go, for example, going to New Year's countdown and so on, people just grope your back, your front, or just touch you. Yeah.
Not that I can think of.
Well, that's good. In New York, they've made it a punishment to go to jail for sexual assault, so that could be groping or anything like that. Do you think that that's an appropriate punishment?
Well, groping in prison, it seems a bit harsh. I mean, they deserve a punishment for sure. Yeah. But I think what matters is more like educating male and females as well, how to actually, I don't know how to say that, but just make awareness of how frequent it is and how frequent it happens, and how to actually educate young boys to respect women more.
I think if I notice this guy's been doing like a couple of times, then I just turn back and just slap him. That would be the appropriate punishment. That's it. You get it.
Don't mess with you on the tube.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Just groping you think it's good, imprisonment is appropriate?
Yeah.
Well, somebody groping somebody on a bus or anywhere, knows what he is doing, and that's, to me, is a crime and must be punished.
By prison or something?
Or maybe just sentence, in that case. Just sentence the person, but not minimum sentence.
If it's on children and something like that, it can affect them during all their lives, and it changes an entire life to be touched. And
so you think it's appropriate?
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is between affection and assault? So what do you think is the defining difference?
I guess it's the intent. If someone touches you, you might have someone who's very tactile, and they'll touch you, to show affection or that kind of thing. Whereas assault, like somebody who's pushing past you to get in next, on the tube, something like that.
Well, it's without consent.
It's without, sorry?
Consent.
Consent, sorry. Yeah, that's...
It's basically like if you have affection, it's from someone you know, and you actually acknowledge the person and you say you agree with that. But assault is any kind of assault, like if it's just like calling you names on the street or touching you, or it's just without your consent, you say no, or you don't agree with that.
Someone could be affectionate, but the woman doesn't want that affectionate to be translated towards her, you know what I mean? So it all depends on definitions. And groping is something that the woman doesn't want, you know what I mean?
Now that was very interesting to see what the viewers in London think. But ladies, do you agree with some of the questions? I mean, one lady, I think the lady at first in particular, said that she had been groped several times on public transport. Now that for me is quite shocking. I'm a Londoner, I grew up in London. I did have an incident where it was rather uncomfortable, where someone was behind me and they were trying to get frisky behind me, but thankfully I quickly moved off the bus and I didn't turn back because it was really, really awkward. But I've never had that incident again. It happened once when I was much younger. So my thing is that because it does happen, one of the questions was, should it be a criminal offence? Do you think it's right for someone to go to prison or to have some sort of sentence for groping or inappropriate touching, as someone would get someone would get charged if they assaulted someone. So do you think it should be in the same category, or do you think, nah, it's not that bad?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm very radical on this, because who has been passed through this experience I think would agree with me, because it's horrible. It's horrible. And no one has this right to invade, your space, your space, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This kind of touching, grabbing you. I think you have to report to the police, and it has to be, like punished, like in this way, go to the jail.
Yeah,
I believe.
agree. What do you? But Patricia's like, I hope you agree. No, I'm joking. How do you feel about the whole thing?
I think, yes, there should be some kind of punishment, but not too harsh compared to stealing, killing.
Why would you say that? Because my thing is, I think it's almost, depending on the type of groping, it is to a certain degree like almost rape. Maybe not as, the gravity might not be as serious as rape, or it might not be as, if I could say,
it's
explicit.
not the same level,
but for me, I think it's inappropriate. And I think, for example, it's the equivalent to someone jumping on the tube and just deciding to smack you on the butt or rub themselves up against you. I think that is inappropriate, and I think if that's not dealt with, that person will keep going and doing it. And I think it's brilliant that in America, for example, they have a law, that says that people can't do that. I remember even when I did go to America, funnily enough, they had signs on public transport saying, if you have ever gone through such a thing, you need to report that person immediately. Do you think that they should have it on tubes as well? And why do you think that it's not as serious?
It's like you're comparing it to rape. I don't think that someone grabbing you or touching you from behind is as strong as rape. And yes, there should be some kind of penalty for that. Maybe having the pictures put up on the tube for everybody to know. But not to the extreme, because I think a lot of people make these mistakes out of a silly, maybe the age they are at the moment. They think
like
it's
if it was
funny
a young person,
and it's cool, and they just do it without even thinking.
Yeah.
And maybe later on, when they think about the consequences, I'm sure they will, It happened a lot when I was younger, and boys would do this to girls. But I'm sure now they are grown up, they are adults. They think, oh, this was so silly, why did I do that?
Yeah, it's true. We've got a quick red card, green card game. I just want to play it for 30 seconds before we go into the break. And I just wanted to ask you a quick question, and then we're going to speak to Olivia Holtman about it when she comes on. So, red card for no, green card for yes. So, as it currently stands, do you think people should go to jail for groping someone on the bus or tube? Red card no, green card yes. Okay. Do you think grabbing someone's bum is an assault? Green card yes, red card no. Okay. Do you think someone wolf whistling at you is verbal abuse? Okay, wow, interesting. Do you think Okay. Do you think that people who experience an incident like that, someone touching them on a crowded tube, should go to the police? Oh, Patricia, you're so naughty. Well, we're going to be discussing these issues with Olivia Holtman when she comes on after the break to talk to us a little bit about such incidents, and also what can you do if you've been assaulted, and how can you help someone who's been assaulted too. So you don't want to miss this one, ladies. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Love Talk.
And basically it was just to meet the in-laws and get their trust in.
Well, myself.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yes,
I'm actually happy for you.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me, right? That's how they say.
That's a good one.
Run away from temptation. Run. Then run another one.
This is so serious.
There is the right kind of honesty and the wrong kind of honesty.
Very good evening to you. I'm Celso Jr. I'm here with you at Finding Answers.
I have confidence in myself now, and I know that I can do anything.
But there you learned that there was hope for you.
Give us a call or send in your emails and we will answer it live on the show.
Whatever you are addicted to is stronger than you. No matter what problem you're going through right now, I believe that where there is a will, there is a way.
Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to DKW. We're talking Space Invaders on today's show. How do you protect your personal space, especially if you're a woman? How do you safeguard yourself from assaults? And we've been talking about, for example, assaults on the street, public transport, groping, is it acceptable, not acceptable? And how do you safeguard yourself? And we are privileged to have Olivia Holtman on today's show with us. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, nice to have you.
It's lovely to have you on. I mean, it's so good to get you on because we wanted to like debunk some of the myths. Is it okay for people to touch you appropriately or inappropriately? What's the difference between assault and groping, all of those kind of things. But before we delve into it, tell us a little bit more about your work and what you do.
I set up my own private practice in 2010 called OH Services, and I work as a counsellor there, and I'm a facilitator as well, so I provide workshops as well and group therapy, and I work with different kind of people, so men, women and children, but I have 7 years of experience working with women in domestic violence and sexual abuse as a counsellor and group therapist as well.
Okay, so I'm going to delve into it because we wanted to know, what is the difference between like groping, inappropriate touching and assault, or is it the same thing? So say for example you've got a lady on the bus, guy comes on the bus, smacks her on the bottom. Is that inappropriate, indecent groping? Is that assault? Is that not assault? What would you say that is?
Well, all the things you said, they fall under sexual assault. So groping,
Really?
touching, sexual assault is different. It could be rape, it could be attack, it could be all different kind of things. So what you just gave an example is different things that is a form of sexual assault.
Wow.
So groping, if you touch someone's bum, it's sexual as well. So it's a form of sexual assault.
Wow, I didn't know that. So one thing I wanted to ask before I give it back to the ladies, I wanted to find out, if someone then has gone through something like that, what do they then do? Because many women might feel like, well, there's no point in telling anyone because one, no one sees, and two, I'm in, let's say, a tube. You know how the tubes get packed. And I'm surrounded by so many people and I'm squashed up like a sardine. How do I pinpoint the person, or is there any point because no one will believe me? What does a woman do? How does she report if she wants to?
If she wants to report it, obviously if you're in the tube, it's going to be difficult sometimes to know who it is. So, but I think you always should report it, because if there are, for example, 10 people who are basically touched by the same person, there can always be a link that can make the police think, oh, is this person, and have CCTV everywhere as well.
Right.
So I think you always should report it. You can't go wrong with it, let's say it like that, as well, because even if you don't know who it is, I think it's always worth to do that.
I mean, another question I wanted to ask as well, because I've got some points that I wanted to ask for some of the viewers out there. If someone has been through an experience like that and they felt slightly traumatized by it, they didn't know what to do, how do they get back onto the road of recovery? Because like, for example, I had this thing, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but I had a similar situation happen when I was much younger. So as a result, I'm very, very mindful when I'm on the tube and stuff like that, where I stand, how I sit down and so on. But you might have someone who's perhaps scared now to use public transport or even go out on the road. So how do they overcome, how do they get back on the road to recovery?
There's different ways of doing that, because everyone reacts different in trauma or assault or any incident as well. So I think the first thing is to sort of realize what happened to you, and knowing that you have rights, and what happened to you is not your fault as well, because that's one of the things that happen quite often as well, that people think, oh, it's my fault, I shouldn't wear this, I shouldn't be like that, or I shouldn't say this as well. So it's knowing what happened to you, and knowing that what happened to you is basically not your fault. And then looking at the symptoms that basically came from that incident and working on the symptoms to build your confidence. Because you gave the example of you, and now because of the event, you're more aware what to do. So it makes you a stronger person and you're more alert as well. So it's looking at the symptoms and knowing what you're going through.
Brilliant.
It's interesting what she said about blaming yourself and
Yeah.
feeling guilty about it, because I was at the first break, you was saying about if you had this experience, and I said that I blame myself also. When the guy touched my legs, and I felt, wow, I felt so revolted, I felt responsible for that.
Yeah.
And I think the society bring this to bring this responsibility to women, you know, like we have to prevent ourselves, you know, from this.
Yeah.
And you know, what the women say about it when they talk about this experience?
There is blame, self-blame, what you're saying. There's guilt, there is shame, because that's sometimes a problem that, if someone touches you somewhere and you have to tell someone, it's a big deal, obviously. And you're going, also, if you go and report it, you go through the emotional feelings sometimes as well. It can bring back the feelings that you had when you went to the incident as well. So to sort of understand that what has done to you, just basically, you're giving the responsibility to the person who actually done it to you. So you don't take it on, that's your own, because sometimes you can't control people's behaviors, you can only control your own. So you have to sort of see it from that point of view, because sometimes it can feel that you're sort of locked and you're sort of like, well, if I say something, they will say, oh, I was wearing a skirt, or I was wearing this, or wearing that. But just really knowing that this is not my fault, no one's supposed to touch me anyway. Doesn't matter what I do or say or wear.
A question that I wanted to ask is, do you think that enough is done to teach women how to safeguard themselves? Because I know when you grow up and you're at school, they talk about stranger danger and stay away from strangers and stuff like that. But as you grow older, maybe there's not so much emphasis on things like that, because you're an adult now. You're supposed to safeguard yourself. You're supposed to know what to do. So do you think there's enough help out there for women to learn how to defend themselves from an attacker? Should they be attacked and so on?
I think there is help there, definitely. There's loads of different, especially now with what effort is happening to, in society, and everything is coming out with all the sexual assault that happened back in the days. So I think there's loads of information on site, and there's all loads of websites, and there's loads of information as well with different organizations that support women. But the thing is, you have to look for it. That's the thing as well. You have to look for it, because it's not going to be just there on your doorstep as well. You need to know these kind of things. That's why these kind of programs are very important, and conversations that we have as women together is important to be open, and for your children, for your nephews, for your cousins, so they know that talking about it is not that bad. It's it can help as well.
How do they find that information? Take, for example, you've got a viewer like at home now, and they're thinking, oh gosh, the area that I live in is not the safest of areas. They're being pretty frank with themselves, and they're thinking, I need to go on some sort of course, or I need to take up some sort of training. How do they find that?
You can go to the GP. You can go on
really?
Because the GP has loads of information about women organizations that sort of support women and children that go through it, also for men that go through it. The website is obviously a worldwide web, so there's loads of information there as well. And asking people around, asking friends, family, go to a professional. Loads of magazines where you find information as well. Social media is so big at the moment, so to get information is sometimes not that bad if you know how to use it.
But Olivia, I would like to hear from you. Is there anything that we can do to prevent ourselves from sexual assault? What you could do? In a practical way, I'm walking on the street, what I have to do,
If you're walking on the street, be aware where you are, listen to your instinct. If you don't feel safe, try to sort of go away, run, or if it's necessary, or make your way out, but listen to your feelings, monitor people's behavior, walk assertive, have an alarm. Nowadays they have those things, the alarm things that you can put in your back, and you just press it and a very loud sound goes off.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that you can bring. Yeah, or even your keys, have your keys in your hand. If you don't feel safe, just in case if you have to protect yourself. And self-defense classes, I know you're going to do something later on. Yeah, self-defense classes as well. So those are the things that you can do on the road. And if it happens, for example, if you go through ongoing harassment or sexual assault within the home, for example, there's also stuff that you can do for yourself, as having like a safety kitty bag, for example, with your passport or your documents in it, little clothes and things like that, and you can hide it. And if you're in risk or in danger, you can take the bag and then you can go away wherever you plan to go as well. So having that plan as like, if it happens again, I know where to go, I know who to call.
I know you mentioned a bit earlier on about the domestic violence. You do work with women that have suffered from domestic violence.
Yeah.
A question that I have for you is, if a woman has suffered from it is there a connection or a tendency for a woman to probably suffer attack from someone outside and not just in the home? Are they more vulnerable? Are they more susceptible to attacks? And if so, how can they help safeguard themselves again?
I'm not sure if they're more vulnerable, but it's definitely possible that it happens again. It is possible, and also because you're more vulnerable, because the people who do that, it's all about power and control.
Right.
So if they see you vulnerable, then you're more the target. So it's working on yourself, working on your self-esteem, recognizing the symptoms that you have, and recognizing that those symptoms are coming from the incident, and looking through it, speak to a counselor, friends, family, to sort of build up your self-esteem. So when you have your self-esteem up, then the chances are more or less that something might happen, but as well you can read the alarm bells, the signs as well, to sort of protect yourself before it happens.
So you mentioned signs there. I know it's a bit vague or it can be ambiguous. I was just thinking, before I go into signs of someone who's been attacked, what kind of signs are there that you could perhaps pinpoint from an attacker, if there are any? So say, for example, I'm on the bus, I'm on the tube, or I'm just walking down the street. What would you say are signs that perhaps I can look out for in case I'm going to be attacked or someone's going to try and grope me or grab me?
Yeah, well, the clear signs are if someone is aggressive or someone is staring at you. That is sort of the clear ones. And I would think the sign from someone who how you feel, I think, is also how you feel, because someone can come over to you and is very polite as well, and it's the first instinct that you have of someone normally gives you that feeling. But the difficulty there is that sometimes it's mixed up with your emotions as well. So it might be that it's just fear, or it might be that you're just too open to it as well. But sometimes it is very difficult if you don't know the person to pick it up.
And if perhaps you have a friend or a loved one who's maybe they've been attacked, but they're not telling anyone, or they're not saying anything. Do you think that there's signs that you can perhaps look out for so that you can help that friend or loved one, or pinpoint something? Is there changes in perhaps in their behavior that we can look out for, or signs that we can look out for that could suggest, it doesn't necessarily mean they have, but could suggest that they've undergone some sort of traumatic experience like an attack?
So you're talking about the victim showing symptoms that you as a friend can pick?
So maybe, for example, I have friend A, maybe she's gone through an attack, but she's not
saying anything. Not
telling anyone. Are there any symptoms or signs that I can pinpoint and say, oh, something's not right there, perhaps I should go and talk to him and see how she's feeling?
Yeah, there are signs of isolation. So if if it's normally a bubbly person and at some point she doesn't want to speak to you anymore, or sort of say no to everything, they might feel anxious attacks, panic attacks as well. The change of behavior is also that they sort of withdrawn within as well. So they're not the same person as they are, as in how they express themselves. Their behavior will change as well. And they might say, for example, oh, I'm forgetting a lot of things, because sometimes people forget things as well, and they can't relate to certain things anymore as well. So when they disassociate themselves from things that they normally maybe feel comfortable with, and now they feel uncomfortable with it. So if it's a bubbly person and they don't want to go out, then it's different kind of things that you see in a behavior that is changing of someone.
And before we conclude, what if we have a man who's watching and perhaps they've had a partner who's being attacked, and they're not quite sure how to deal with that, or to help their partner or spouse, or even friend get over that attack? What would you say would be the 5 top tips to help that person to overcome whatever they've gone through, whether it is an actual serious, they're all serious, I shouldn't say one is more, but whether it's a rape or a grope or an indecent assault, how do you help that partner or friend get over that?
Talking to them is one, if they're open for it, because everyone, as I said before, goes through the trauma differently. Some people want to talk, some people totally shut down. And also the symptoms sometimes can basically come immediately, but it also can come after a month, after a year, after 5 years. So sometimes you won't see that as well. So if you're a partner of someone who went through that, is trying to see if you can speak to them, if they're open for it. Look for professional support, that's another one as well. See if they can start to look at their feelings. See if they look at their feelings of, the symptoms that they have. What else? You said 5.
Yes.
street.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, those are brilliant enough.
Yeah.
Those 3 tips are very, very helpful because
Mm.
I'm sure if someone's watching out there and they need help, at least
Yeah.
they know what to do. And we've come to our break now anyway. So thank you, Olivia. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And ladies and gents, stay tuned because if you want some physical defense lessons to help yourself, to help safeguard you from an attack, you don't want to miss this one. So stay tuned after the break.
Uplifting.
Diverse. Vibrant. Dynamic.
Powerful.
Youthful.
Informative.
Energizing. Passionate.
Motivational.
Freedom.
Lively.
Excitement.
Forgiving the person who betrayed you can be tough, and it can almost always leave a scar. The scar that remains from an abusive past can affect your future in so many ways. There are various forms of abuse, the seen and the unseen. We understand your pain because we have been through it ourselves. If you or someone you know is a victim of any form of abuse, help is available. Rahab. Removing all hurt and abuse. We won't pretend it never happened, but our aim is to help you heal the wounds of the past so that you can build a happy future. We'll listen, we'll advise, we'll be your shoulder to cry on. It's free, confidential, and we're just a phone call away. For more information, call 0207 686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org/Rahab.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Hello and welcome to today's DKW show. We're speaking space invaders. How do you safeguard yourself if someone invades your personal physical space? Well, I'm here with Krav Maga. They teach self-defense and they're going to be showing us a little bit about the work that they do and how they safeguard people. So I'd like you to introduce yourselves.
My name is Patrice Bonafou and I'm an urban Krav Maga instructor.
Oh, brilliant. And you have two demonstrators here with you.
Evelina and David, who is also an instructor.
Oh, brilliant stuff. French, yeah. So I wanted to find out from you, why is it so important to teach people self-defense?
Well, there are several reasons. First is that with a bit of training, you can develop good reactions. And when you get in a bad situation, your first reaction is very important.
Right.
Yeah. The second thing is it gives people more confidence. And predators, they will pick up people who look weak.
Right.
So if you have more confidence and you hold yourself with more confidence, you're less likely to be picked up.
Okay, so my first question for you is, like, for example, if someone approaches you to attack you, how do you safeguard yourself? Can you demonstrate and show us a little bit of what you would do?
Let's work from a real life event. You remember the Carnival Hill, Notting Hill
yes.
Story? Well, basically what happened is that a lady got grabbed, yeah, and then she confronted her aggressor. So if David confront, then what happened is that she was probably upset and the guy punched her. Yeah. Right. Now, as Evelina just showed, reaction, see training. First reaction you should have is bring your hands up.
Right,
yeah?
so you do.
So that's it.
That.
Hands up. Yeah.
Right.
So what it does, if you put your hands up here, you materialize private space.
Private space.
If you have your hands here along your, yeah. Now, what you, actually, your private space here is different. Yeah. Now, hands up here, like you give a good idea of what is your private space, but also, as Evelina is showing, it's much harder for your aggressors to do anything.
Right.
Now, if he tries to punch her, she has a chance to block, and she will be fast enough. If her hands are low and a longer body, the time she reacts, the fist will connect with the face, and that's what's going to happen. Now, also, what it does, if you have your hands up, now here it helps her with distance. So if, say, she pushes David, yeah, now he comes back, she knows that's the distance she can kick. So here, that would be a good kick now. Distance for a kick. Show the distance for a kick. Now, yeah, bam. So here, now if he gets a bit closer, she knows that she can punch the guy, yeah, or even closer into her private space, she can use the elbows or the knee eventually, yeah. You finish with the knee.
So I can see she's quite strong there. And she's, but say if you've got someone like me who has no self-defense training at all, and you know they've put their fence up, they've done the fence. Yeah. What is the easiest thing perhaps that they can do after putting their fence up and then legging it somewhere else or running off?
Well, here you can go with the.
Because I noticed she went to kick. Would you say a kick or a block, or what would you do? What would be the easiest thing?
It depends a bit of the distance and your reaction. It's important to work with reaction, and without much training, people's reaction will probably be to use the hands. So you can go a bit higher to hit the throat, boom, or like this, yeah, hit the throat. That's a good way. Or last thing you can do also is go for the face, the mask, and then go for the mask and work the throat.
Wow, my goodness, that looks a little bit violent, but what does that do? Does that, like, it just basically immobilizes the person?
Well, the thing is the head obviously is the weakling, so when she puts her hands like this over his face, that will stop him first and open that area. Right. Now the nose is really weak, so you push on the nose, the head will go backward, fingers in the eyes, that will incapacitate him, and then you can whether squeeze, or if you feel your life is in danger, punch right away the throat.
Okay. Now that's from the front. You're seeing an attack from the front. What happens if it's from the back? Because like we've been discussing throughout the show, there's been incidents where people have been groped from the back, people have had their bottoms slapped, let's say they're in the tube or they're even on the street and someone tries to grab them from behind, maybe to assault them or to steal their purse. What do they do?
So the first thing is, if your butt is slapped, obviously what people will do, I think, is turn towards the aggressor and confront him. So at that point, you put the fence, and we are back to that technique. Right. Now, let's say you are grabbed from the back. Let's demonstrate one possibility here. So David arrives here, and That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Okay.
So then, if you want to do that a bit more slowly now.
So how would that work slowly?
Yeah, let's do that slowly. Break it down slowly. So first thing, she's gonna grab the forearm here to release a bit of pressure from her throat. Yeah.
Okay.
Now she can hit the guy to the groin or grab the leg, but what is important here is that she's gonna step in his back like this. Here she's gonna reestablish a good strong position. Right. Now for him it's much harder to pull her to the ground. Now one hand goes to the face, and again that mask, thumb under the nose, fingers in the eyes, pull the head backward, and now from here she can whether punch the guy in the throat or simply take him down.
Right.
Now the thing is, once your head passes the plane of your shoulder, there's no resistance in your neck. Wow. So from here she just
straight down,
and the guy goes down. Now you don't want the guy to run after you, so you can stomp on his ankle. You'll break the ankle, but he won't be running after you.
Wow. So, I mean, with all of this training and so on, how has it helped the people that have come to your classes? Have you got any case stories or anything where you can say that it's really helped people?
We have a number of case stories. From my personal experience with my own students, I have a number of students who had a bad experience in the street. And what it did mostly is giving them back some confidence.
Nice.
Because I think when you're scared of your own shadow, life is very difficult. So with a bit of training, they realize that they could fight back and they could save themselves. So they regain confidence, and I think that their life was easier in a way. Yeah. But I think, Dave, you have more experience, violent experience. So.
Yeah. One thing I do want to ask then, I mean, we've only got like a couple of minutes before we go to the break, and I just wanted to find out just a couple of tips. So you showed us some physical things. What other things would you say that a person can do just to safeguard themselves? Maybe if it's a woman and she's vulnerable and she's walking alone on the street, or maybe if they're in a public area again that's quite condensed, like a tube or transport. What would be your main, let's say, 3 tips for the ladies out there and vulnerable men as well, for them to look out for?
So, I guess in the street, what you want is partially if it's dark, you're alone, it's awareness.
Awareness.
So unplug the headset.
All right. So try not to walk too much with headphones. And
Yeah. Partially if it's like a street with no one else, because if someone come in your back, you want to hear them coming. Yeah, so that's a bit of awareness. And it's not like military awareness. It's more like the way we drive a car. We look left and right, we check the mirror. That kind of soft awareness, I think, works well. Then I would say, if anything happens, be noisy.
Noisy?
Yeah,
so what
noisy.
do you, like just scream out?
Yeah, scream. Just say back off if someone is following you. Confront the guy, say back off, create noise, make noise. And I think in public transport it's the same, because not everybody will react, but you will always have good people who will react, come there and say, look, leave her alone.
Yeah.
I think that's, did you have any other?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you'd have to come closer, because I know you haven't got a mic per se.
All right.
Yeah, I would say awareness is key. You need to scan your environment, look at your surroundings. Where's your nearest exit is always a good thing. What can you use? What do you have at hand? Just put it into simple principles.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, thank you guys for coming along. It was very, very, very valuable. I'm sure you have benefited from it at home. But don't leave us. We still have another segment with you to talk about what do you do when you've been attacked and how you can overcome it further. And also, if you've been attacked and you need help, we're going to tell you what you can do to get in contact with us. So stay tuned.
If you value yourself, it's like when you have a diamond or some very precious stone. You don't wear it every day. You don't leave it, hanging around in the house. You don't even lend it to people. You hide it because it's valuable. So much more, you are valuable. You woman, if you want a man to value you, you need to value yourself first. You need to be the first one to say no. You want me? Then, work for it. Marry me. You want to have all of me? I can give you all of me, but you have to marry me first.
Hi, ladies and gents. We're talking space invaders and how you can protect yourself if someone has invaded your physical space. And we're also talking about attacks. What happens when you've been attacked and what you can do to overcome an attack. Ladies, after everything that you've heard and you've seen today, in fact, before I even say that, welcome, Sam.
Hi. Thanks for having me. What can I say? I'm here.
And we missed you. It's glad to have you back on the couch.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting show, and I think it's really important that this kind of awareness is actually given to our viewers, because there's so many people, including myself, who have experienced abuse, assaults, and things like this. And I think we need more topics like this to bring the awareness to our people.
Most definitely. And we are going to be having more awareness. As you know, it's November, so watch out soon for the awareness that we're going to be doing on domestic violence. As you know, it's the, it's the International Day in November. But going back to the Space Invaders thing, I mean, looking at some of the moves there, it might look a bit aggressive or scary and so on, and we're not saying that you should now use these moves as an excuse to go around attacking people. Oh, I feel like attacking this person because I thought they were going to assault me. Not at all. You only use that when you definitely know for sure that you're in danger, you know. But one thing I wanted to say, if a person was attacked, ladies, how would you help them? After hearing everything that you've heard today, what would you say to them? How would you best help them?
I think really the best thing to a person, could be a loved one, could be a friend. There is a healing process, Jen, because I'm talking from my own experience. I mean, at a very young age, I had a neighbour who deliberately used to indecently expose himself as an adult, and I was a child. And to experience this, and it was something that I never spoke about until I became an adult. So you can imagine, for me, it almost seems as if it took a lifetime of healing for me to even
get to the point to speak.
To get to the point of speaking about it. So I think it's really important that if you're a friend or you have a loved one who have experienced some kind of experience such as this, it's important to be patient with them. You know, try not to be judgmental. You know, try to be there for them. You know, if they want to speak about it, if they don't want to speak about it, it's okay. You know, because these things they don't happen overnight. That healing process is not overnight. It's just not the quick. Different people deal with these scenarios, these traumas
in a different way.
Differently. Each person is different. And I think it's important to always remember that. You know, there may be a very inspirational person who may go through this and get through this problem very, very quickly. They move on very, very quickly. But you may get a person that it totally destroys their life and they find it very, very difficult to come back. So I think this patience, being there for them is so, so important. I mean, for the person itself, I think it's really important. I heard the lady speaking about it earlier, about how important it is for the victim to really speak about it.
Yeah.
Because I think when it's trapped inside a person, those pains, it's going to be difficult for that person to develop in their own personal life. And I think the more they can talk about it, the more they're setting their free. They're releasing themselves. They're setting themselves free from such a situation. I think the more you can speak about it, the more you can give your experience to help somebody else. Because with my own experience, I find that now I can help other people to get over that. And I'm sure many people, our viewers, may have gone through this and they may be finding it difficult, and they are welcome to actually call in to DKW. Our number is there online. They can contact us. I mean, any of us will be welcome to actually speak with them and give them.
I can even say on that point,
I would love you to, Jennifer.
You know, you can send an email to comments@dkw.me, and we'll be more than happy to get in contact with you and pinpoint you to some help immediately.
And can I just make a point, Jen? I mean, lately I've been, especially on the news, and a lot of rumours going around about, you know, we know that prevention is better than cure. And we know that many times a lot of people who go through this scenario, they haven't brought it on themselves. It's not that it's deliberate or they've put themselves in that situation. It's 9 times out of 10, it's not the scenario. But what I can say is that the gentleman, one of the gentlemen that was doing the performance, the self-defense, he spoke about awareness. And I think it's important to be aware. It's important to have your eyes open, to be assertive. You know, for example, you're driving along home in the night and you see somebody's broken down. You're on your own as a female in the car. You may have empathy for that person who's broken down, but think. Think first before you pull over to help that person, because it may be a trap. I know that they're doing things like leaving babies in a buggy. I mean, a person that sees a baby in a buggy, of course they're gonna, there's a child there, let's go to the rescue. But then it's gonna be better to use wisdom, better to phone the police and say, okay, I've just seen a car broken down. I've just seen a suspicious
person or a baby,
baby left there on this particular road. But I think us women now, we have to be very, very assertive, very wise, very able to make decisions, positive decisions that is not going to land us in a trap. And I think that's really important.
Yes, definitely, it's very valid.
Yeah, and also we have always to remember, sexual is a violence. It's a crime. It's a crime, and you have to get help. Whoever committed or wherever it happens, we have to get help. You cannot keep for yourself. It's always important to report to police, go to the right, institution, to GP also, as Olivia said, and you have to get help.
I think that's a very valid point, because not just help for the victim, but sometimes we forget that the perpetrators need help. Regardless of, what your stance is on, oh no, they should be locked up and everything. And I do completely agree. I'm not advocating for any perpetrators. But the fact of the matter is, if they're not reported, they'll never get the help that they need to stop what it is that they're doing. And for the vast majority of them, I would say, this is in my own opinion, it is them going to prison or being served a sentence or whatever. And why do I say that? Because, if it's not reported, the truth is they'll probably keep doing it.
That's right. Totally
and so
agree with you.
if you don't report it, I know it might be hard for you, it might be scary, but the fact is, think about what they've done to you potentially could be happening to many other women along the line.
And with you again.
Yeah, and it could even be you again. If, like in the case of what had even happened to you, like you said earlier, that person will then think it's okay to do what they're doing because no one's caught them on it, or no one's pulled them up on it, so it must be all right because they keep getting away with it. And until something's done, they're still going to have that mentality.
That's right.
It's not just about safeguarding yourself when you report, but you're safeguarding everybody else after that. So yeah,
definitely, I like that.
And it could get worse as well. From just a touch, it could get to something more violent, more aggressive, to rape, to murder. We don't know, so we need to tackle these kind of people. And I just wanted to add to what Samantha was saying about people not being afraid to talk, because it does happen, it's very common, and if you have gone through this, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And no one has the right to invade your space, to touch you without consent, without your permission. So don't be afraid or scared to come forward and speak about it. It's in your rights to do so.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, rape and sexual violence, what is it doing? It's actually taking away the individual's power from a person. You know, that is so deep. It's just a situation where you cannot, you know, comprehend how that person must feel inside if they've experienced something like this. And I think it's, as you were saying before, I think even like with children, I think it's really, really important to look for signs with our children. I mean, when I'm thinking of my own experience, I didn't speak about it, but somehow my parents didn't see the signs. Maybe the signs were there and it was just overlooked. I don't know, and I cannot say. But I think as parents, I think it's important to know your children. It's important to ask your children questions. But not even that. I think the awareness needs to be brought to our children as well, of enlightening them to say to them, look, if someone is touching you inappropriately, it's wrong. And you need to tell mommy or daddy, you need to tell the tutor or whoever it is that it may be. And I think it's really, really important. But I think as the victim, I think the greatest healing process is really speaking about it.
And you know, that's what I want to even conclude on. I'll say to you, ladies and even gents who have suffered some form of attack, it's really important that you speak to someone, because the longer that you keep it inside, it's like you're reliving that attack in your mind perhaps, or in your day-to-day life every day, and you might not even realize it. And it will even take a while before, you know, you can heal, but you can speed up that healing process by speaking to someone. And like I said before, if you do want to get in contact with some organizations, you can go on our website, or you can send an email to comments@dkw.me, and we'll be more than happy to help you through the attack or the assault, or maybe any emotions or things that you might be going through relating to this subject. We'll be more than happy to help. Ladies, we've had a fantastic show today. I've learned a lot. I've even learned self-defense today.
It's been wonderful.
It's almost over now. We've got a few seconds.
And it's important that they know they're not alone, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's so important. They're never alone with this.
Exactly. We're never alone, but we have to go now, ladies. We've come to the end of the show. So on that note, have a fantastic Sunday and take care. Bye-bye.